Right. So it was a nice evening, and we elected four new members to the board, of which one of my votes went to a friend of mine. The other, I could have had 4 votes. I spent 1 vote on somebody that I like as a person and think he would do a good job, even though he didn't make a very good speech. I have to be honest about it. I think he could have done better. I think his heart wasn't in it. I think he'd already chickened out a bit, to be honest, of it. And 2 minutes is a hard time to present yourself in. I don't think I could do it. I'm always long-winded, as you know, dear regular viewer, and somehow you put up with it. But these guys were strictly kept to 2 minutes. I don't know how I'd ever keep to 2 minutes. So he didn't make a very good show on the speech, but I voted for him anyway because I know him and I know he'd do a good job. And he didn't get in. The other 2 people that I voted for were to reinstate the treasurer and reinstate the person that was doing the public policy committee, even though he's another lawyer and we've got a legal firm. Still, the guy's obviously got the right stuff, so I thought he'd be good to keep in there. So I voted for him and all the rest of the candidates. I just couldn't choose between them. I thought they were all good candidates. I don't think there was anybody that didn't deserve it. But there would have been 1 more vote after those 3, and then you pick between, you've got 9 candidates for 4 seats, so that leaves, if you put 3 down, that leaves you with 6 people to choose for 1 more vote. I just didn't even use my 4th vote, so because I just couldn't pick between the rest of them, and I didn't want to go on any on any random whim, and so I just left the 4th possible tick not done. So I got 2 out of 3, but my friend didn't seem too bothered, and I think he was more nervous before he had to get up to speak, and then once he'd done it he was kind of sitting back and saying, well, I'm not expecting anything, and he got what he expected. But he was quite okay with it. So, and actually, you have to, in these situations where you've got, more seats. It's a very bad thing when there's only as many seats as there are places. If you're in a situation where you've only got 4 places to fill and there's 4 candidates and everything goes through on the nod, then the people that have done that, they kind of think, well, I don't know whether I was really chosen or I've just got it because I was the only one. There's no satisfaction in winning that, is there? And you don't feel as though you've even got a real mandate from the society or chamber or whatever it is, because you automatically got in if there's 4 places and there's 4 candidates. Yeah, it's just a question, do you accept the 4 candidates? And what usually happens in those cases is that the person leading the meeting will say, anybody want to raise any objections or abstentions or votings against any of these candidates? Of course, nobody puts their hand up unless you get the odd really obstreperous and boring person who does. But usually that's dealt with fairly easily. You only need a moderately good chairman to deal with that, because the whole of the hall is against that person, you can be sure. And so everybody gets through on the nod. But what kind of a feeling is it to win a place on a board or to win an election when there are only as many candidates as there were places? So if you're in a situation like that and you join up as a candidate to make sure that there's more candidates and somebody can lose, and somebody's going to lose, even though you think you're going to lose, because he did. He thought he was going to lose even when I was talking to him 2 weeks ago on the phone. I think that's a noble thing to do. And I'd advise any of my viewers, you know, unless you're particularly somebody that takes loss of face, or what they think might be loss of. I don't think anybody lost face. I don't think anybody does lose face, at least not amongst intelligent people in those circumstances. And elegantly, of course, you don't find out how many votes were cast. It's not like, you know, the humiliation you get at school when you're the last to get picked for a team. Nothing like that would be allowed in such organisations where you're paying to be a member. It would be absolutely off limits to do something like that in any civilised society. So all that happens is you don't get the number of votes. You might find out about them privately if you want, or even if you wanted to, you might not. Depends on how rigorous they are. You shouldn't really be able to, but sometimes people, you know, if you've got a friend on the, you know, on the panel, they might let you know discreetly if they thought there was a good reason for you to be sure that you had a good mandate, or to, you know, let you know that you weren't as popular as you thought you were because they thought it might be for your own good. Then, you know, you might find out about it. Pardon me, hiccup then. But in the main, all you know is the 4 that got elected, and everybody else, the other 5, didn't get elected, and so you've got 4 people who equally got elected, and they were the 4 winners, and the 4 people that didn't win the election but won a bit of kudos also for taking part, so they're also winners in a way, because you can't have anybody who's a loser in this day and age. And of course they're not really losers. I mean, they may have lost a place on the board, but they won a hell of a lot of time, spare time, that they would otherwise have to give to it. So it's not as bad as you think not to get a place on the board of a chamber. So these people that have won differently, if you like, I can talk a little bit longer because I don't think it's going to be worth actually putting this one up as HD, because it's dark and I can't get all of that detail in the picture anyway. We've now, of course, left Napornice and gone on to near where Palladium is, next to Obecny Dum. This is called Revolutionary. It's all in a straight line really from where I was. Just cross the bridge from the Slavonic island, if you like, and keep going and come home. Everything in Prague is close to each other, it seems to me. Even if you go to the other end of the city and you go through the middle to get back home, it seems to me that I've only gone about 2.5 kilometres, which is less than it's about half of what I'd walk. Well, no, it's not half, but it's only 60% of what I walk home of an evening. It's more interesting though, I'd say, walking around in here because there's more going on, whereas in Poland it tends to be a little bit glum. Parts of that walk home and 2 works, they're a little bit glum. Some of them are actually quite nice, surprisingly nice, a bit cafe-like. I should do that film one time as well, what my walk home from work actually looks like now. That would be a good film actually to do. I should do that maybe next week. Although some of that you've seen before more than once, it'll be a different perspective on the same thing.